Try anything and you cancel, bro.
So, back in February, a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie came out. It received pretty negative reviews and was universally hated on. And since I figured it's October, I'd review a horror movie. The only clip I'd seen of this movie was the intro joke for this video. So I figured, well, maybe it's trying to be overly cheesy and over the top, but it just missed the marks. But as I watched the movie, I realized how wrong every aspect is. I will be going over the plot of the movie and breaking it down on a scene-by-scene basis. If you don't want spoilers, I'll leave a time code on screen now, but if I'm being honest, you'll probably get more out of this video than the hour-and-a-half long movie. So the movie starts with a VHS-style unsolved mystery recapping the first movie. History Channel went for the YouTube commentary aesthetic, it seems. Then we meet the main characters, Melody, Lila, Dante, and Dante's girlfriend. That's her actual name. When I watched this for the first time, I had subtitles on, and her name is literally Dante's girlfriend. In this scene, it looks like it's supposed to be Riley, but it's super blurry. Why not just give her a name? And yeah, this sounds nitpicky, but one of the first four main characters we meet doesn't even have an official name. They also meet Richter the mechanic of the ghost town, and he carries a gun around, so Mel decides to make fun of him.
Who has such a small dick they need to walk around in public with a fucking gun? Like, I mean, is he compensating for something?
It's later shown in the movie that Lila has a fear of guns, but wouldn't provoking someone you don't know with a gun be a terrible idea? Even if it's to keep your sister calm, why don't you just comfort her instead? So Dante and Melody are Instagram shelf influencers and want to buy a ghost town to make an Instagram town?
Think about it. We can own all of this. Call it Dontopia.
What?
What? Dontopia.
How long have you been sitting on that?
The last 48 hours.
Dante and Utopia, you're combining two words.
But when we see their Instagram, they only have 2,000 likes. Not to mention Instagram pays the least out of every social media site. And they don't really have a plan on what the town is, it seems. How are you gonna get food into this town? It's a 7-hour drive. They don't have any brand recognition in the town. They want to put up an art store and a comic book store.
Oh, this space would be perfect for my art gallery.
Lila, look, we could put a comic book store in here or something cool.
Who's gonna be buying comics here? In the scene where they start auctioning houses, there's only 20 people. This is something Mr. Beast would do, not someone with only 2,000 likes on Instagram. It would be like if I tried to open up a Utopia. You know, let's get the Exzactly cult running. I think it could be pretty cool if we're being honest. So it turns out Richter is the contractor for Harlow, and he delivers one of the few good moments in the movie.
So you guys are what, like a cult?
We're idealistic individuals who want to build a better world.
Yeah, that's a cult.
They discover there's a Confederate flag hanging up in one of the buildings, so Mel and Dante decide to take it down, where they encounter an elderly woman still living there. They try to evict her from the house because the bank sold it to them, where we then meet Leatherface, who has remained at the orphanage for all these years. The woman starts getting panicky and ends up needing to go to the hospital. So Dante's partner goes with the sheriffs. Melody and Lila have a fight because Lila doesn't like the Instagram town plan because it's stupid as hell.
Move here, I'm moving back with Dad.
No, you're not.
I don't want to live here. Your whole idea is insane.
You don't know what you want.
Okay, and you do.
I know that you need me and that you can't take care of yourself.
What is wrong with you? She can make her own decision. Why are you trying to control her? So the old lady ends up dying, and this makes Leatherface lose it. Lila and Richter have a nice heart-to-heart moment. Melody learns that the old lady died, and Dante is indifferent to the news. Mel decides to take Lila out of that town as she feels the situation is bad now. The next scene has Leatherface taking his mother's face off and killing the sheriff and Dante's girlfriend. And my main nitpick of the film happens. There are way too many jump scare cues. Jump scares can sometimes be effective, but this movie uses them as a crutch, and it honestly ruins moments that don't need them and would probably be scarier without the sound. Because after a while it just feels cheap and like the movie has no idea how to be scary organically without them. When he kills Dante's girlfriend, she tries to stop the knife and it slows Leatherface down, but he can break someone's arm in half and then stab said person with their arm bone 4 times? Also, why did she try to leave on the driver's side and not the passenger seat. On a more positive note though, I love the new design for Leatherface. It's creepy without being overly edgy. Richter takes the car keys so they can't leave until he sees the deed to the orphanage, and Mel bullies Lila more.
I'm coming with.
Please, can you just do what I tell you?
Why do I have to stay with these fucking people?
Just stay.
We are then reintroduced to Sally Hardesty, 50 years later, which I really don't like. I'm not huge on when big franchises bring back old characters you recognize just for the sake of going, oh yeah, it's the guy from the thing, yeah. It worked in the Halloween remake, but we don't really need it here. It just introduces plot holes for the movie. Where is Leatherface's family? If this is the same Leatherface, why isn't he chilling in his house with all his face furniture? You can't get that at IKEA. Now we get to the only scene I like in this movie. Dante and Mel are exploring the house trying to find the deed. Mel goes upstairs and Dante stays downstairs. While Dante is in the kitchen looking for the deed, which makes no sense, he finds Leatherface behind him who kills him. And the way it's shot is through a door moving back and forth, so you can only see part of the action. It's a creative way to film the scene. Now if we ignore that this scene makes no sense, for several reasons, it's actually pretty good. Remember, this is the only scene I like in the movie, a less than 5-second shot that realistically doesn't make any sense in the movie. This whole closet scene is goofy and makes no sense. And now we get to see a more sensitive side to Leatherface, where he puts some makeup on his mom's face and holds her dress. Leatherface hears everyone at the church and gets ready to kill all of them. It starts to rain to get some horror aesthetic going. Dante limps out of the house, and when he turns around we see a giant cut on his face. Another positive thing I will say about this movie is the effects look really good. Richter fights Leatherface, but then loses anticlimactically. And this is another scene that would be better without the score. Have the music play while fighting Leatherface, but when he loses, stop the music and keep it stopped. Playing a stinger cue is pointless because we know he's dead, and wouldn't it make the brutality more gruesome if we only heard the sounds of the hammer hitting Richter? Reality comes crashing down on Mel, that the only person that could save them lost brutally. Instead, this obnoxiously loud, generic score that conveys nothing. Mel tries to get to the front door, and the scene where she's underneath the floorboards, desperately trying to get out, is not scary. Because this whole movie relies on loud noises to be scary, and not the content itself. Now, I'm not talking about the chainsaw, obviously that's going to be loud, but the score, the stingers, it's just too much. You also don't really care if Mel gets out, because her main personality trait is just yelling at her traumatized sister all the time. Leatherface gets on the battle bus and starts killing everyone. Do none of these people know how to open a window, or at the very least break the window? If you're gonna hit the glass to get out, at least make a fist, not a hand. Mel and Lila escape out the bathroom exit and find Sally's car arriving on the scene. Sally then goes to Leatherface's room where he's just vibing. There's a weird editing choice where for a split second it shows Sally holding a photo of her dead friends from the first movie as she names them off to Leatherface. Like, we know what she's referencing, you didn't need to show it. Sally and Leatherface hear Mel and Lila scream, which prompts Leatherface to go kill them, but walk right past Sally. Why didn't you just kill her there? He has no problem killing everyone else in the movie, and everyone else wasn't even pointing a gun to his head.
I'm not gonna let him kill you, okay? I promise.
After getting shot, Leatherface runs away to the other side of town in 16 seconds. I timed it. How'd he do that? Where Sally dies in the dumbest way possible. Move back and wait for him to come out. Then Mel and Lila, instead of running away and being normal, they decide, let's just kill Leatherface. Let's just hit him with the car. And they fail miserably. Mel is stuck in the car and then follows the best scene in the movie.
Hey, leatherfuck!
Fucking idiot. Dumbass.
Sally is still alive and shoots Leatherface, which makes him retreat to the movie theater. Sally gives Lila the worst piece of advice ever, and Lila takes it, aiming to kill Leatherface once and for all. There's another weird editing choice where she enters the building from the right, and then she comes out on the left side. I don't know, maybe that's just me. This movie theater set piece is also just weird. Why are there white curtains everywhere in a movie theater? Looks like it would belong in a butcher shop. And a giant, perfect square pool of water, Leatherface outplays Lila and gets ready to kill her, when Mel comes to save her and becomes the real Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It suddenly becomes daytime and Lila and Melody are happy. Then they reference the first movie's iconic ending in the cheapest and dumbest way possible.
Fuck off.
Leatherface does his victory dance and the movie finally ends. Having now seen this movie 3 times, and even more time editing this video, I can say this is one of the worst films I've seen this year. Aside from the one shot I mentioned earlier, the 2 main actors, Sarah Yarkin and Elsie Fisher, did a decent job at points, but this whole film is so blatantly full of unoriginal ideas. Even for the posters for this film just feel so lazy. Look at this poster and tell me this is good. Whether it be the shameless recalls to the original movie, or the whole teen influencer setup they have going. The movie, despite coming out in February of this year, feels dated already. And you might be asking, well Zach, what would you do differently? For starters, I would ditch any connection with the original except for the Leatherface character, as it introduces too many plot holes. For the end credits scene of the movie, Leatherface goes back to his original family house. Why is that even here? I would make the characters more likable and give Mel and Lila a scene where they bond as sisters before everything goes down. Because Mel, as it stands, is just really mean to Lila, and there's no reason. If you want kids in a ghost town, why not just do this premise instead? Teenage crime TikTokers enter ghost town for reports of cannibalistic killer. Make them pseudo-news reporters. Have the main cast be roughly the same size as the original, instead of 3 people we vaguely know, but also get rid of all the jump scare cues. 1 or 2 is fine, but this movie uses way too many too often, to the point you become numb to it. Either way, this movie is a failure in both a sequel to the franchise and on its own merit as a film. I give Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 a 2 out of 10.